All I know is I'm getting the fuck out of here.
You ain't going nowhere, you simple-minded little black bitch. I know what all you whores are saying. You can't do nothing but fuck, so you better work out a way to stay in a house.
All you bitches out of business. Pack your
shit. What are you doing, motherfucker?
Pack your shit.
Get your hands off of me, shit.
Pack your ass, bitch. Your ass is leaving.
What are you doing?
Get the fuck out of here.
I don't understand, Truck Turner. What the hell is... Get out of my closet.
Your shit backfired. I killed Blue's ass, and you don't get the fuck out of here. Your ass next.
Jive, motherfucker.
Pack, hold it.
Truck Turner, anything you want, you can have it. Listen to me. Forget them jive motherfuckers. You and me could both... We could do business.
Cut that act, bitch. Before you get that piece out, your ass is air conditioned.
Truck Turner, you ain't gonna kill no woman.
The following film podcast frequently contains adult content, including foul language and descriptions of adult situations. Spoilers for the films discussed occur often. Listener discretion is advised. Now take it away, Dr. Rausch.
They must be destroyed on sight.
All right. It is They Must Be Destroyed on Sight, episode 155, and I'm your host, Lee. They better learn to sell pussy in Iceland, because if I ever see them again, I'm going to cut their fucking throats, Russell. And I'm joined by my co-host, Daniel.
Is that the longest introduction that we've ever had for one of us?
Well,
the longest
wait.
Quote?
Well, just wait. Let's see how long this one is.
All right.
And my co-host, who's chiming in here, Daniel. I haven't had to sell my pussy since I was 15 and found out I could sell other bitches instead. Harper, how you doing, sir?
Well, since I've been 15, I've been fine.
Exactly. You had it all figured out even that early on. So yeah.
I was a clever boy.
Or you were Nichelle Nichols in a different life. One or
the other.
So
does that mean I get to make out with William Shatner?
Yeah,
because,
you do.
You know,
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
As long as it's like 1960s Shatner and not, today's William Shatner. I'm not sure what he looks like these days, but he's got to be past 80, right? You know?
Yeah, he's past 80. Yep.
Yeah.
So somehow he lived longer than Spock. I don't know how that worked. So we're going to be looking at Truck Turner. We're continuing our little look at sort of either blaxploitation or semi-blaxploitation, proto-blaxploitation. The usual for this podcast, where we don't really quite necessarily go super on target with the genre that we're going to look at. Sometimes we go a little outside the box and shit. So
it's what we do. Yeah.
Yeah, but we're going to be looking at Truck Turner, Isaac Hayes, his only starring role of his long career. But first, we have a shit ton of comments to go through, so we're going to go through that right now. First off, from our friend Darren Wilson, he chimes in on our last episode saying, thanks for the extra love there, and thanks, Daniel, for your time recording this stellar episode. I mean, what the hell? I thought I was going to get to watch the film versions of The Black Klansman and Tick, Tick, Tick in an hour and a half for free, and it was a podcast. So he's confused by that.
Yeah, clearly he's confused. I think he's funning with us there.
Mm-hmm. I think he might be better suited to YouTube. Next we have Jason Connerly. He's commenting on our movie tonight. He says, fun movie, great cast, and a funky soundtrack. What more can you want? A chicken dinner? It's here too. That's right.
We're going to talk about that chicken dinner. Don't worry.
Yeah, and some beer. You get some beers out of it too. Yeah,
lots of Coors. Apparently, Isaac Hayes, did like to drink several Coors and then throw them out of the side of his car.
He does a lot of stuff that's a little antisocial and against the law in this film. But yeah, so we got a bunch of stuff from Jeff Williams. First off, on our last episode, he says there's an interview of Richard Gilden on the Code Red DVD that explains the hair. So apparently he permed his real hair and then wore a white guy toupee over it. And he says, yes, I have too much time on my hands.
Thank you for answering the question. That's ultimately, we can do that research ourselves. We just record and then let other people correct us. Ideally, we would just take the credit for ourselves. I totally would have done that if you hadn't decided to just lay it on me here. So,
I should put these questions before you beforehand.
Yeah, and I could like cut that off, and then I could like reveal that. But I did some more research, and then realized, this is how that happened. You should check that out.
All right, I'll keep that in mind.
Anything that makes me sound smarter is going to be good. That's ultimately
okay. Yeah. Jeff Williams continues on saying, 2 requests for this podcast. First off, I want you to come out there and shake your asses proper. All right.
I'm shaking my ass right now while we're recording.
Do you
Unfortunately, it's not a video podcast, so
yeah. Do you guys think we're sitting down while we do this? Like, no. Like, it's almost an interpretive dance number every time we record. So that's why I've been trying to keep them shorter lately, because I'm getting older and I just can't fucking do the dance moves anymore.
We actually record this from inside the house in the Anne Margaret Swinger movie. You know?
Mm-hmm.
We're just dancing around the whole time.
Man, if I had a holodeck, I'd probably have Anne Margaret from that scene. But that's I don't want to go too deep into my fantasy.
Yeah, we should probably I should just let that one go for now.
Yeah. Then he follows up with saying, please explain what Yaphet Kotto was going for with his wardrobe. Club host, golf pimp, gay feng shui guru, or something else. And that's in relation to at one point in Truck Turner where Yaphet Kotto has this like salmon pink turtleneck going on, and he's got like a medallion or something hanging there, and yeah. I just love that they wear their like pimp gear to like funerals and shit. You know, it does seem like, you know, I'm not going to claim to be an expert on like pimp culture in the 70s, but it does strike me that maybe the like, you know, the feather boas and the canes was not day-to-day wear when they weren't on the job. You know, it does seem like maybe they wore sweatpants occasionally. Maybe they wore a suit to a funeral. I don't know. It'd be like, yeah, you know, like mobsters wearing tracksuits. You know, they can't always wear like 3-piece suits and shit, you know. So. But I think we'll get into some of the choices in this film as we talk about it, because, man, my God, there's some great stuff in this, certainly, yeah. Yeah, so he made 2 suggestions, by the way, for movies of the week. I think I missed last week's one, so that's my bad. I think it's because I replied to him on Facebook and then forgot about it, so... he suggested Magic from 1978, which is the creepy doll film with...
I've actually seen that.
Yeah, so he says, Lee and Daniel aren't the only ones who love Anne Margaret, but do they like creepy ventriloquist dummies too? And yeah. William Goldman wrote that, who also wrote the Princess Bride and stuff. So, you know, I watched it because he talked about it in Adventures in the Screen Trade. It's pretty good. I remember liking it. It's been, 10 or 15 years since I've seen it, but I would definitely rewatch it for the podcast, sure. Like MILF and Margaret and Anthony Hopkins, and good stuff. Anthony Hopkins before he became Fat Hannibal Lecter, which always bothered me. It's like, no, Hannibal Lecter's too old and too fat for this role. Like, I don't buy it anymore. His other recommendation for this week is a film by Robert Downey Sr., Greaser's Palace from 1972. He says it's his absurdist parable rivals only Jodorowsky's El Topo as the weirdest Western ever made, when a cowboy character played by Hervé Villechaize, the midget from Fantasy Island, or Little Person from Fantasy Island. Little Person, or I think Dwarf is also currently acceptable, but Oh, they accept Dwarf? Okay. I think so. I can't speak for that community, but I'm not sure what I'm pretty sure midget is like definitely wrong, but do they accept Hobbit? I'm just gonna let that one go. We're just gonna move on now. Any little persons listening to this, let us know if Hobbit is acceptable in your community. But Villechaize starts hitting on a post-modern Jesus, so stuff just got strange. Yeah, I have heard about this film, that it is kind of like a acid Western that kind of recreates the story of Christ at the same time, kind of thing. Yeah, so I'll do pretty much anything Robert Downey Sr. Putney Swope is a masterpiece, like this weird masterpiece. And, he's this weird anarchist leftist guy, in the late 60s, 70s, I'll do whatever we got to do to get some Robert Downey Sr. in here. I'm down for it. No problem. Sweet. And I know we're doing Westerns here in a couple months, so maybe we can add that one on, Yeah, we're not going to necessarily just go strictly spaghetti Westerns. We're going to do what we did last time. We're just going to go over the place and do some different Westerns and stuff, so it'll be good. Yeah.
Oh, I did rewatch a bit of High Noon because it was on Amazon Prime. Just mentioning it now while we're talking about westerns. It just showed up on Amazon Prime, and I just hit play because I was like finishing a beer, and I was, man, this film works so much better once you have our interpretation into that. You know, once you understand that like the whole town is just sick and tired of Gary Cooper, or you know, like involving them in his personal relationship drama, this movie really makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, no, I mean we're brilliant. I mean,
Yeah.
Well, you're brilliant because you convinced me of that fucking.
I came up with that live on the recording there, so you know.
Yeah. So thank you very much, guys, for the comments. And we've been getting a lot of comments lately, which is cool. Like, just keep them coming, man. I mentioned, I think, like 2 episodes ago, a comment from Kai Clear saying he gave us a positive iTunes review. And it's like, well, what region are you from so I can actually region switch goddamn iTunes and find your fucking review? And he finally got back to us, and he is from the UK. So here is his iTunes review for us. He gave us 5 stars. Thank you very much. And he says, high definition filmic musings. From my subjective view, They Must Be Destroyed on Sight is pitched somewhere between the academic smarts of the Faculty of Horror and the cinasty conversational ramblings on the projection booth. Each week, Lee and Daniel dissect and discuss 1 or 2 genre films of their choosing in an entertaining and clever and ethical manner without being arseholes about it.
Sometimes I am an arsehole about it, to be fair, but never an asshole. That's the key. Never an asshole, often an arsehole. That's where I land on that.
Continues on saying, the worst thing I can say about their podcast is that there's episodes on films I haven't seen, so I need to catch up with my viewing before I can enjoy them. The Other Side the Wind, F for Fake, and the Plesioteschi soundtrack episodes are excellent. Well, thank you very much, Kai. Of course, if anyone else would like to throw an iTunes review at us, apparently that helps really well if you like give us a 5 stars and a fucking review. Apparently that kind of puts us up in the rankings for people to like to see that our podcast exists and listen to it. So, I mean, if you feel like doing it, I'm not pressuring anyone to do it. I mean, instead, join our Patreon and buy Blue Chew, you know? Yeah. But no, thank you very much, Kai. Very much appreciated.
We're only in this for the money and for the fame it brings us. We've been at this for like 4 years at this point, and you know, we're definitely going to be the number 1 podcast, the number 1 movie podcast ever in like 50 years. That's the rate that we're growing. So
yeah, I mean, we're
and ultimately, what a legacy to leave, you know.
Everything we do on this show is important, and don't anyone forget it. That's what I leave it at.
Did you see that our friend Kit Powers' book has been like officially announced, and that his book on the film Tommy, which he got that contract based on us doing a podcast with him?
Yeah, I wasn't going to rub his nose in it or anything.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think he owes us some royalties. That's where I'm going to land on that.
I'm still going to buy the book.
Yeah,
you know. It's like I don't honestly.
He'll send you a signed copy if you just like play it cool, man. You don't have to buy it.
No, I'll buy it, and he can send me a signed copy as well. But honestly, Kit, all you owe us is just another appearance on the podcast. That's all I give a fuck about. So, because we just like talking to you because you're our friend.
Great, yeah. We were supposed to do Shaun of the Dead. You could have another book on Shaun of the Dead already in progress if you had come on when we invited you on.
Yeah,
so,
I mean,
ultimately, Kit, your career is in our hands at this point.
Don't make us put you on this podcast for a movie like fucking Hell of the Living Dead or something like that, where it's just like, yeah, you're gonna write a book about that.
What would be the worst movie to make Kit Power write a whole book about? Like, we're gonna do the fucking Notebook or something, and make Kit spend 2 years writing a book about it, delving into the deep dives of Ryan Gosling's career.
Oh fuck yeah! Buy Kit Power's work.
Yes, do.
Yes. I'm just for the fuck of it, I'm going to put his Amazon link in the show notes just in case anyone's not familiar with his stuff, because he's actually a really excellent writer.
He and I did a podcast on Stephen King's The Long Walk not that long ago on the Wrong with Authority feed, which was a really fun conversation and a really good episode. So you know, I assume anybody here has probably listened to that, but go. Let's do it if you haven't. It was fun. It was fun chat.
So we're going to take a quick break. We'll play some music and some podcast promos, and we'll come back with Truck Turner.
Looking for something different in your podcast library? Then why not check out the Podcast Under the Stairs? I'm the host Duncan McLeish, and joining me each week will be a special guest as we examine some classic, old school horror favourites, as well as some modern classics. That's not to say that we don't tackle some of the, let's say, more questionable entries into the horror genre. And if all that wasn't enough, we have a subset of shows called Baz v Horror, where our horror novice, the Baz, tackles horror in all shapes and forms to see who will come out victorious. So what are you waiting for? The show can be found at podcastunderthestairs.wordpress.com and on Stitcher and iTunes. The Podcast Under the Stairs is a proud member of Legion Podcast Network. This is Duncan McLeish from Under the Stairs, signing off.
Hello and welcome to Hello, This is the Doom Show. I'm Richard.
And I hate the burning.
Shh, who are you? Speak.
And I'm Brad.
She came in and said, "Buck, buck, buck," and he said, "Buck, buck, buck," and she said, "Buck, buck, buck, buck." That's what I got.
One is the Suspiria boner, the other's the Inferno boner. Anyway.
Which one is crying? The boner of tears.
Hello, This is the Doomed Show is available on hellodoomedshow.podomatic.com and doomedmoviethon.com.
Hello, this is the Doom Show. Richard, Brad, Jeffrey, Naffa. It's the Doom Show. Hello, this is the Doom Show. Slashers, giallo, and horror. It's the Doom Show.
All right, Truck Turner, a.k.a. Black Bullet in some markets.
Hide your mamas. Big brother is coming. And he's coming on strong. Isaac Hayes, the big brother of soul, is making a new kind of music. And it's mean jive.
All right, y'all, let's move. If anybody asks you what happened, tell them you've been hit by a truck. Mac Truck Turner.
When he's hottest, he's the coolest.
Hey.
Could have brought me some flowers.
I got some beer.
When he's baddest.
What do you want for breakfast?
He's the best.
What do you think?
Every gun brother and sister is out to make the big hit.
I want that Truck Turner, and I want him dead.
But he's out to get before he's got. Isaac Hayes, as a skip tracer, a modern-day bounty hunter, making a healthy living by making living unhealthy for cats who skip bail.
Gentlemen, this is my family. These all prime-cut $238,000 worth of dynamite is Fort Knox in pennies. That's Taffy. Her clients call her Colonel Sanders because she's finger-licking good. The man who kills him gets my broads.
Truck, they gonna kill you.
They're gonna have to do just that. Because they owe me. I'm gonna collect.
When he gets it on, the action takes off. Isaac Hayes, the magic name of music, winner of the Academy Award for his music in Shaft and scoring again in this one. Truck Turner from American International Pictures.
Also, in
Black Bullet. Okay. No.
Yeah, and in some, I think in Germany it's Chicago something or else.
And there's no Chicago reference anywhere in this film.
No.
Yeah, this film very obviously shot in Chicago. By anyone who's ever even seen Chicago knows.
Yeah. From 1974, directed by Jonathan Kaplan, who before this did a couple other Corman films. This is an AIP production, and on the strength of his success with Night Call Nurses and The Student Teachers from 72 and 73 respectively, he got this job. It's written by Oscar Williams, Michael Allen, Jerry Wilkes, and based on a script from Leigh Chapman, who did Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry.
Which we have to do at some point soon. Like, that's such a great movie. But
yeah, this was one we've talked about before on this podcast. About doing, starring the great Isaac Hayes as Mac Truck Turner.
No, Truck Mac Turner, as you know.
The great Yaphet Kotto as Harvard Blue, Alan Weeks as Jerry Barnes, Annazette Chase as Annie, Nichelle Nichols as Dorinda, Sam Laws as Nate Dimwittle, Paul Harris as Richard Leroy Gator Johnson, Charles Cyphers as Drunk, and Charles Cyphers, if people don't know, is actually Sheriff Leigh Brackett in Halloween. He's the drunk that shows up at the bail bondsman's office there for a brief scene or whatever. John Kramer as Desmond, Scatman Crothers as Duke, the great and now late, sadly, Dick Miller as Fogarty, Stan Shaw as Fontana, and Tara Strohmeyer as Turnpike. I included those credits. Stan Shaw is awesome. Tara Strohmeyer, who had a little series of sexploitation sort of roles from this period to like the mid 80s or whatever before she retired. And she's on Facebook and she still looks lovely, by the way.
Which one is she in the film?
She's one of the hookers who Nichelle Nichols basically tells her, you better fucking straighten up or I'll slap you down or some shit. Like,
Okay.
she's one of the white girl hookers. She's not very distinct in the actual film. I just wanted to mention her
Fair
because I like her. And she was in Van Nuys Boulevard. She's the girl who has sex with our hero in his van when he comes into the drive-in restaurant or whatever, and they like basically squirt mustard and ketchup all over each other and shit. Yeah.
I see. Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah.
Makes sense. No photo on her Wikipedia page. This is terrible.
Yeah, it is.
We're gonna have to delve into her filmography so I can properly appreciate it. So
yeah, and I think we've done a couple films that she's in now. We've done Van Nuys Boulevard. We did Malibu Beach as well. She's in that too. Yeah.
I'm sure if I saw her, I would know who she is. It's just anyway.
She's willowy white girl with curly brown hair and big tits,
which is very distinctive description for a white person in these films.
Yes, indeed. Internet Movie Database synopsis from someone called Josh Pasnack. Truck is a bounty hunter who gets a job to track down a guy named Gator. When he and his partner find him, a chase ensues and Gator is killed. This makes Gator's woman, Dorinda, very angry, and she puts a hit on Truck. The man who agrees to kill Truck is named Blue. The question on whether Truck can survive with Blue and his gang on his tail. That's okay.
I feel like this. I'm gonna give this guy or this person, bot, whatever. It might be an artificial intelligence that wrote that. I'm gonna give pretty solid credit on that, not because that's a particularly good summary of the film, as much of despite this film being fairly straightforward in terms of kind of what it's about.
Mm-hmm.
It's a remarkably difficult film, I think, to really summarize well. It has a real kind of episodic element, particularly in the first, it kind of goes through two separate kind of bounty hunt things in the first half hour. Then I was kind of prepared to just kind of go, oh, we're just going to kind of do two or more of these or whatever. And we're just going to watch, Isaac Hayes be a badass. Great. And then it ends up kind of switching around on us. And then, the hunter becomes the hunted. And, we just have a bunch of, it does strike me. I've said this a few times in other podcasts we've done about other movies. There's a lot of incident without a lot of kind of forward momentum to this plot. There's a lot of stuff that you could literally just kind of lift out and not, it doesn't really matter too much. It's just kind of like noise that's happening in the film. And that said, I actually really liked this. This was a really fun, quick watch, 90 minutes. It goes by like a flash. There's a lot of great stuff in it. I love how violent it is. I mean, and I don't often say I just love the violence, but I love that it really goes there. I really love how kind of light a lot of it is. It really isn't. It really doesn't take itself seriously at all.
Yeah.
As opposed to something like Coffee and Foxy Brown, particularly Coffee, which has, this very, kind of socio-political resonance that it's kind of aiming for. This really isn't going for that at all. It's really just kind of a fun little action movie. Apparently the original script, I mean, they were going to offer it to Lee Marvin and shit, and then just all the white guys turned it down, and so it just became a black movie. No criticism of that, I mean, but it does strike me as more of a does kind of feel like, I mean, I once I read that, I was I can kind of imagine Lee Marvin kind of walking around and doing all this shit and just kind of being yeah, no, it's just that movie, and suddenly some of the things like the cops, they don't just shoot him in the fucking head, the second they see him, suddenly that makes a lot more sense. Yeah, no, I get that, Overall, I really enjoy this. I like the characters. I love Isaac Hayes. He's great in this and kind of makes the movie. I love the relationship between him and his partner, particularly in that first kind of 30 minutes when they're, he entices him to speed, and then when the cop pulls him over, he's making fun of him, I don't know what you're talking about, man. There's a real camaraderie there. There's a real fucking with him. Yeah, no, this is just a really fun movie. That said, I watched this last night, and I have so few detailed memories of it. So we're just gonna have to go with that. It's a really fun watch. I really enjoyed it, but man, it just kind of in and gone, sort of thing. So.
This is one of my favorite blaxploitation films of all time.
I believe it. I believe it.
And people who have not gone into this don't go into this expecting a serious blaxploitation film that's, trying to hit on black issues and stuff like that, because this is not that at all. I don't know if this has ever been designated a sort of subgenre of blaxploitation like it was for spaghetti westerns, but I would kind of call this almost like a circus blaxploitation film or a cartoon blaxploitation film. This is more in the vein of Cleopatra Jones that we did, where it's much more.
there's nothing in this that really reflects any kind of lived reality for anyone.
No, it's a very over the top comic book kind of film.
Yep.
I mean, honestly, Isaac Hayes is the most neutral, bland character in this entire film. Everyone else around him is colorful and big. Although at the same time,
and the fact that I can broadly agree with that sentiment, and also the fact that character, like, you take that character and drop him into like any other movie, and he's broad and colorful and kind of all over the place. So, you know,
Isaac Hayes is incredibly charismatic in this. I wouldn't say he's necessarily the greatest actor. He's a bit of a mush mouth, so sometimes you can't even like understand what he's saying. But
subtitles is what you want.
Yeah, his charisma is fucking off the charts, though. He's really good, and you can tell that, like you said, the original script that was written was for a white person. It was supposed to be a white bounty hunter kind of film. You can tell the rewrites here were just people like pitching ideas of like, what can we have Isaac Hayes say, and what can be funny, because early on, the first half of this film, actually the first 2/3 of this film, is a lot of comedic moments. Like, there's a scene in the skip trafe's office where they come back after their first assignment or whatever. It's like out of a black barber shop kind of thing. Like, they're just throwing jokes and
they're just throwing. It does feel like, you know, let's watch Eddie Murphy in 3 different kinds of makeup throw riffs at himself. You know, I don't want to like diminish it. It actually is like, it's really funny. It's really good. It really it sells that reality. But it is like, what are we doing in this office having this conversation? This definitely feels like that you know, the barber shop scene in another movie. So it does feel like they just kind of like, you know, they had this little moment and then they had this set and they just kind of wrote some fun dialogue, but it's super fun dialogue. So it's like, you know, why complain ultimately? But, and the whole film is kind of like that, you know, like it's super fun. So, you know, whatever, you know.
Yeah, it's so cartoonish. And I mean, the entire presentation of this is to make Isaac Hayes look like fucking $1 million. And I mean, and he holds up his end of the deal, because he fucking does great. Basically, the first part of the film, you have like a bunch of like comedy racists and stuff like that. Like, you know, they pick up their first guy or whatever, and right off the bat, he's like throwing out in-bombs and shit like that. And then Isaac Hayes is like, well, fuck, you want to fuck with me? Let's have a fist fight. And so they have a fist fight and shit before he takes.
Yeah, it literally is, you know, like, oh, you want to insult me? And it's like, you know, well, you know, you put these cuffs on me instead of, and these are fine. And then suddenly they're in a field, just cuts to field. Isaac Hayes beating the shit out of this guy. And his partner just kind of looks over and it's just like, tick-tock, motherfucker, we gotta get out of here. You know, like, come on. No one hurt him too bad, you know, takes him to the jail. It's a fun little, you know, so many films get us so like tightly from point A to point B, right? And this is really just kind of like, no, you want to see this racist get his like shit kicked out of him. Let's do that, you know, for a couple of minutes and, you know, just kind of move on.
He goes to a military base to, you know, get some information or whatever, and some guy he's got to pick up, and he makes this like redneck fucking MP fucking end up shooting out one of his tires, and so he has to fucking fix his tire afterwards, you know, like, there's all this fun stuff, and the movie doesn't really get into gear until you hit about the hour mark, where the plot really sort of starts to kick in. But before that, you don't give a shit, because it's all about just building up how cool Truck Turner is, but at the same time, even though he's like a badass, he's kind of like this ex-football player badass who's kind of going to seed. His apartment's a fucking mess. The only shirt he has is the shirt the cat pissed on.
And his partner's like, dude, you smell like piss. I don't smell like piss. What are you talking about? Yeah, no, that's great. No, I actually think it's funny how this is one of those, you know, it basically has the sort of structure of, there's the pre-credit sequence where, you know, we establish how cool Truck Turner is, and then, you know, cut to, and then, you know, opening credits, and then like we're gonna start the plot. It's just that like that opening thing is like, you know, 15 minutes of the movie. Then you get into him interacting with Dick Miller, who's like great in this. I mean, I just immediately fell in love with that character. He's just such a shitbag, but he's so like entertaining at it.
That pink jacket, by the way, was his jacket.
Oh, nice. I believe it. It was 1974. What else are you gonna do, right?
Everybody in this film's wearing pink of some sort.
Yeah, no. This is a very salmon film, ultimately. You know.
Yeah.
No, so it is also like the comedy sequences are also sort of Turner interacting with white society, and then once then we get into like the more serious part, and like all the white people leave, and except for Dick Miller, who basically leaves at the hour mark or a little bit before the hour mark. So you just have all the other white people you see are essentially just people working in this underworld or whatever. So which is kind of an interesting dynamic as well. When he's in this world, it's funny. At one point, this character like runs through a bar and is like, 2 guys are chasing me. 50. He throws a bunch of 50s around. Stop the people behind me. Where I thought the film was going to go is he's going to run in and they're going to go, he went that way, but he gave us 50. But like
that would be my response.
Yeah, exactly. But
why do you just give me $50 for nothing?
$50. That's fine. Yeah, he went that way. But I guess they were settled. Oh, I got a couple of like bad guys after me or whatever. But Truck Turner like beats the shit out of the entire bar. If I had known I was going to be fighting Truck Turner, I would have asked for way more than $50. So, it does kind of sell this mythos, and like in a lot of these kinds of films, that just kind of comes off as really stupid. But here, Isaac Hayes sells it like he is that larger-than-life character, and he is legitimately, like, you could buy him as being like that badass, and that, but also, the tone of the film just kind of sells the reality of, he's just that good.
The best thing about this, not only is he charismatic, he pulls off the action scenes. Like, I didn't see anything where there's like a noticeable like stuntman doing anything he's doing.
Right.
Like he's doing all the action here. And that bar scene, it's 1974. And this black pimp just ran into this bar. I'm drinking here. I'm just minding my own business. He drops me a $50 bill to stop someone from chasing him. And then he runs out before he can check whether we stop.
$50 is like $300 today.
Exactly.
Fair,
how many drinks could I buy at that bar? It's like
that was a cheap bar too,
Yeah, I'm not fighting nobody. I'm going to sit there on my ass and drink some fucking more beer or whiskey or whatever.
Yeah.
And all these guys, they get their asses handed to them. And the real funny part is you see the aftermath of that, where there's like, if I knew it was Truck Turner, I would ask for more than $50. They still all have their fucking pants down. Like Truck Turner shoots his gun. Is like, everyone pull their pants down, motherfucker. And Mac Truck Turner just hit you, motherfuckers. And then he runs out of there, and they still got their fucking pants down. Like, no one's pulled their pants up. They're all sitting there drinking. No one's pulled their pants up.
There's a really strong element of comedy to this. And, that kind of sequence where it's like, why did they do that? But, like, oh, it's funny. That's the reason. Like, I love that they, like, chase the pimp into, like, essentially into, like, a dam or something.
Yeah.
And, like they're just kind of running around in this, and it's like, well, of course, it's an action movie.
It almost turns into Scooby-Doo, where they're running back and forth between shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the fucking fashion sense in this fucking film. It's just from Truck Turner's partner, who is wearing like a salmon fucking shirt underneath a red checkered fucking shirt, and he's got red pants. Dude, that doesn't even, I don't think that even flies in 1974. I don't know. And all the fucking pimps.
Yeah.
They're extravagant. There's this massive pimp funeral. Like there's the white pimp with the eye patch.
Yeah.
The
white guy who's got the eye patch. I'm like, you seem like a Venture Brothers character or something.
Exactly. Yes.
On that,
This verges into blaxploitation parody. I would expect to see this shit in like Black Dynamite kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. No. Yeah. No. I mean, it pushes right on that edge, but it's still. I mean, I don't want to say it's plausible in a real world, but it's sort of plausible as a. You still feel like there are stakes involved here, like because the relationships, kind of the central relationships, kind of work, and in particular the relationship he has with his girlfriend, who has apparently stolen a TV. She's got 30 days in, and he when he drops off the first guy, he says, "All right, so we're gonna go and I'm going to go and see my girl." He gets 2 minutes. They make out for, and he's, of course, all the other women in the cell or in the prison or in the jail are, hooting and hollering at him, which is, of course, I mean, that is a nice piece of man meat there. I'm totally down for that,
Yeah. This is, well, I mean, fuck. This is a Corman women in prison film he just walks into, basically. It's like, oh, we'll fuck you, Truck Turner. And then later on, he walks into like a hair salon with Nichelle Nichols and all of her hookers. And they're like, oh, look at that black chocolate cake. Like, yeah.
It was definitely on that, we understand. Isaac Hayes is incredibly attractive. No one's going to deny that. But lots of fun there. But I really liked the relationship he had with his girlfriend, where she's in jail and I'm doing this time, it's not doing me. She's kind of keeping her dignity, and then you find out, you're only in for 30 days, and this is clearly not a new experience for you. So whatever.
This feels like something that is ongoing with them. And he's basically watching
also clearly before like 3 strikes laws, because at a certain point Reagan comes into office and suddenly you stole a TV, that's your you stole it $200, congratulations, you get 20 years,
kind of thing. Truck Turner, his girlfriend's in jail, so he's watching her cat, and that's why the cat peed on his shirt.
Right. That cat who does not survive to the end of the movie.
No, that's when the film turns really dark. In the last 30 minutes. Yeah.
But he has. So we mentioned we got to talk about the chicken, right? So she gets out of jail, and he's like late to pick her up, and she's like, "You didn't bring me flowers," and he's like, "I brought beer." She's like, "Did you really think you were just gonna come and like pick me up and then take me back to my place and screw me?" And he's like, kinda.
Kinda.
I was like, isn't that kind of what we do? Like, come on, like it's a thing. And then he says, "Oh, come on, I'll get you some food." And I thought, like, oh, we're gonna get a little like a restaurant scene or a date scene or whatever. Then he just walks in with one bite. Like he bought her KFC. He didn't even buy any for himself, and she eats like 4 bites of it.
Not only that, he bought her the cheapest KFC, the 2-piece meal deal or some shit.
No. Didn't even go for the famous bowl or whatever.
But then it feels like it's almost, again, a kind of a parody, because then there's this brief moment where he's watching her eat the chicken, where it's like, oh, look at these black people eating chicken.
Right. Look, I'm from the South, right?
Yeah.
I eat myself some fucking KFC, man. Like, I make fried chicken for myself all the time. I have fried chicken always felt more like a Southern thing to me than like a black thing. But there is a little bit of like, we're going to sit and watch this woman eat chicken. And there's, this is a little bit racially uncomfortable, even in this 1974. Like, this might be a little bit over the line in terms of kind of pushing like that particular message. But at the same time, it's kind of like, I just kind of buy it as a character moment. And I'm just, I let it go. But,
I liked it, but I like that this film kind of sort of pushes here and there when it doesn't even need to, because this is a super low budget AIP film that doesn't need to necessarily go there, but it does in several different directions. It really goes there at times, but
it's got a lot. There's a lot of going there in this film, and I think in terms of going there, I think there's one character we really need to like really highlight here, and that's our madam Dorinda, Nichelle Nichols, who is pretty remarkable. I like the fact, like, the first time you see her, I mean, obviously it's Nichelle Nichols, and I'm kind of like, she'll come back. But at the same time, like, you could totally buy, like, it's just a cameo where she drops in for, like, one scene. And then, we just chase the guy, and then it's over. But no, that's not what happens. She ends up being kind of the major antagonist for the entire film, certainly the last third, but really the last half.
She really she sets all the plot in place, is what she does. Like, she drives the entire plot, basically.
Yeah, once you get past kind of Gator's dead or whatever, then suddenly it's her revenge against Truck Turner, which really kind of motivates everything. And I missed some of the details on exactly what's being offered to some of these other people.
We have the pimp funeral, and then everyone's coming up to her afterwards going, "So sorry about Gator, by the way, you want to give me your hose, we could pay a good price on it." And she's, "You don't have to pay me for my hose. All you have to do is kill Truck Turner, and I'll give you my hose." That's sort of price kind of thing.
Yeah, no, I mean, I got that. It was more just sort of the, because I think she was like, "Oh yeah, I was sharing 50% with Gator," and then it's 25% that she's offering the other guy,
Mhm.
and then
Yeah.
they're splitting it a couple of ways, and I don't know, it just felt like some of the numbers didn't quite work in my head. But
and also Yaphet Kotto and Harvard Blue, he basically just fucking muscles in and no, we're gonna do it my way.
right.
I'll kill Truck Turner. All these motherfuckers, these pimps are gonna work for me, and maybe I'll give you some money, bitch, on the end.
Right, yeah.
Because he doesn't treat her with any respect.
No, he doesn't.
He just walks right in. It's like he spits on the corpse of fucking Gator, and what all the pimps are, instead of throwing dirt on him, they're dropping vials of cocaine on him, which is fucking hilarious. It's
Right,
so
yeah,
good.
no,
and
it
then
is.
he just walks in and spits on him, and then later on he's so what's the deal, bitch? Basically, he's just like throwing bitch every fucking second word.
Right.
I'm telling you how it is. I'm Harvard Blue. I'm walking in on this. I'm taking all this shit over, and I'll kill Truck Turner, and you'll be subservient to me, and all these pimps will be subservient to me, and I'm gonna own all your hoes and shit, and that's the way it is, kind of thing.
Yeah. No, he's trying to take over, and boy, does that not work out for him, because like, going up against Truck Turner, not something you want to do. Again, we get a scene from one of the hired guns who's like, you didn't tell me we're going after Truck Turner. Like, it just runs away. It's great.
But yeah, he has this assortment of guys, and it kind of feels like, okay, these guys might be badasses, and it's like it's a variety of guys too, because one of them's called Candyman, and he's just looks like a Native American type guy. Then you have like a black dude. Then you have this guy who looks like a Jewish fucking stockbroker or something.
Oh God, there's like that one guy that looks like, hey, can we be the most blatant Jewish stereotype possible? He's one step away from being a Hasidic Jew.
Yeah. And so they try to do a hit on Truck Turner, but they end up killing his partner. And that's a great scene, too. They speed it up. So, like, he walks into a door, and he opens the door, and they just blow him away. And it's like fast-forward kind of speed.
I love the telephone call before that, though, because they get the telephone call, and Truck Turner, he's like, yeah, I'm kind of drunk, and he calls his partner, and he's like, yeah, he sounded kind of weird. Can you go check that out for me? And it's like, damn, Truck, you're drunk. You're really too drunk to go do it yourself. It's like, I'll sober up. It'll be fine. Dude, you've got to know what the fuck you're sending your partner into. It does feel a little bit like that. It's not even Dirty Harry, but like the parodies of Dirty Harry, where it's like, go ahead and wear a red shirt for this one, because that's about the, it's now time for you to die in this scene.
Even though it does go deadly serious in like the last half hour, it still kind of treats it very flippant. Like,
I thought they were going to take him hostage or something, and we were going to get a big scene where Truck has to save him at the end or something. No, he's dead. It's over.
Yeah, no, it's the boss of the skip tracer agency that he works for gets beaten up, and he survives, but he's in the hospital. One of his eyes isn't going to work afterwards or whatever. He's seriously beaten.
He has a line. Truck Turner has a line. Oh, does he know about the eye? And the doctor goes, yeah. It's all right.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh man, that's harsh. That's harsh.
But yeah, and this movie really fucking ends on a big fucking note.
Oh,
that shootout in the hospital where Harvard Blue is, okay, I'm going to bring my remaining guys, because Truck Turner goes after Harvard Blue.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go after you. So he deftly eliminates the three big fucking heavy hitters at Harvard Blue's place. He sort of maneuvers in that weird fucking modern architecture fucking house and and gets them all. And then he goes to the hospital, and Yaphet Kotto's character, Harvard Blue, is trying to set him up at the hospital for an ambush, and then it's really quick too. I like that about it. It's not in a prolonged gunfight or anything like that. It's just this really quick action scene where
there are a lot of action scenes that are just over like a flash. I mean, it is, and I'm not complaining about this, but there is a sort of there was like I saw on the Wikipedia page there was an attempt at a remake where it never quite happened.
Yeah.
And I can sort of imagine a more, kind of modern version of this kind of doing, we're actually going to do these action scenes for real and not do them for like $20 in 45 minutes or whatever, where, you could have some really kind of badass action scenes and kind of massage the pacing on this just a little bit. I mean, I think the film was really enjoyable as it is. I really love Isaac Hayes in it, but I was kind of struck by we're an hour in and finally we get the real plot, and all these, just kind of looking at the Wikipedia page, it's just kind of there are a couple of other fight scenes that happen. You know, at a certain point, literally just kind of reads that, and it's like, oh yeah, because it's all just kind of fairly, I don't want to say generic, but fairly just kind of quick. Oh, he gets approached by a couple of guys, he shoots them, and then they're dead, you know, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't do what the bar fight scene does, where it really kind of sells Truck as being kind of uniquely cool and uniquely badass and uniquely kind of capable at, you know, being this guy who can just run like a Mack truck through anything. Eventually, it's more like, oh, he's got a big gun and he's just going to shoot people, and you know, in a one shot. That's kind of what Truck Turner does for most of the rest of the film. I was kind of disappointed that we didn't get another like kind of big fight scene, but you know.
Yeah, but still, I really like that hospital scene. I like how
the hospital scene is great. I love that he shoots into like a bag of blood at one point. It looks like a giant intestine where they're like pulling
what I thought
stuff
it was.
out of him. Yeah, there's some really like nasty stuff in that. Not in in a good way. I mean, like, really kind of enjoyably gory.
The fucking squib work in this film is fucking on point. Like, it's so
definitely
good. I mean, you get when he's attacking Harvard Blues thugs at his place, he's got a shotgun, so he, you know, that's going to spread pellets into somebody when you shoot him. The squib work even then actually reflects that, where it's not just one hole, it's several holes when he shoots people. So they had that shit fucking down.
I was kind of on the like, oh, come on, Truck, you're going into what you know is an ambush, and you're carrying a double-barreled shotgun where you get 2 shots before you have to reload. Really well done, man. Like, really clever of you.
He definitely wasn't thinking it out. Although he had a pistol on him as well. So I mean,
so you know he had a backup weapon. So you know, he gets out of it okay. Don't worry, audience. In case you were concerned for Truck Turner's safety.
He only had to kill 3 thugs.
Yeah.
Although there was an applied reload, but he killed one guy with 1 barrel, and he killed another guy with another barrel, and reloaded and shot him again apparently. But then he shot another guy with his fucking pistol too. So, yeah. The action scenes in this, I think, even though they are fairly brief, they're really intense. That fucking hospital scene. It's frantic because he passes a gun to his boss in the fucking hospital bed, and then all of a sudden, you know, Harvard Blue and his thugs show up, and everyone starts fucking shooting at each other, and this goes crazy. Fucking IVs are being shot and blown up. Fucking blood bags, like you said, are being shot.
It actually sells the sort of reality in a weird way, because you know we've seen a lot of action scenes in hospitals before. You know, presumably everyone listening to this has been in a hospital before, and you know you're kind of, it's sort of this other world where you're just sort of focused on this like one thing, and like nothing else that's kind of happening in the rest of your life is sort of existing in that moment. The idea that suddenly there's a big action scene, 2 of these people are just like shooting at each other, and like there's collateral damage, people are getting shot, people are getting, in a weird way, I sort of bought that more, that kind of experience of like, this is not a place this is supposed to be happening. More in this film than in lots of other films of this kind, and I think it is because it's kind of over the top, but also because it does sort of sell it does attempt to sell a little bit of sort of the reality of sort of the monotony of the kind of day-to-day life of, you know, kind of visiting the hospital and stuff, you know, like it does have a little hint of that. And, you know, it's just this kind of weird, you know, normally you don't even think about that. It's just, it's just an action movie, and go, of course, you know, like, that's just what you do. You run to the hospital and start shooting people. But no, it really worked here, and I really liked that scene. I really love Yaphet Kotto's death.
Because it's downright artistic for like this film.
Yeah, for a film of this kind, it's like suddenly, like we're gonna actually, you know, put some effort in. You know, not that there's not effort before, but we're actually gonna do like a POV shot, and it's actually going to kind of like you actually sort of buy the process by which this guy is like losing consciousness and dying, which is, I mean, it was just amazing. Like,
and I haven't,
very well shot.
Yeah, and I haven't listened to the commentary in the DVD yet, which I need to do, but I don't know if they talk about this or not. But it seems like at a point, Kotto he's basically got a camera in his arms, and he's filming himself as he goes. Kind of
I was reminded of Pi, that like
right.
Dan Aronofsky, you know, kind of like, and they actually had to invent a camera specifically to get those locked off shots of, you know, like their cinematographer. They called it Snorri Cam, and I think one of their camera operators was, you know, David Snorri or something, and they just named it after him or whatever. But I was literally sitting there thinking, like, this actually compares to Aronofsky. It's not quite as tightly locked off as that. But I think they did have some kind of rig where they mounted it to him, and so you get the like shots. I mean, there's a little bit more of a kind of up and down movement with the camera, so it doesn't have that like otherworldly feel that Aronofsky gives in Pi, but it does have that like very, particularly for a super low budget film from 1974. It feels like crazy out there, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's so weird to see this in a fucking AIP picture. Like, it's just, it's not something you would expect. Just little things I want to mention here. I love Scatman Crothers as the good pimp, quote unquote.
Yep.
Like, he's just slightly a misogynist, you know?
I mean, he's a misogynist, but he's kind of nice about it. Sure, you know.
Yeah, like his bitches love him, you know, kind of thing. Is, you know, give me my mint julep, bitches, or mint the crimp or crim the
whatever,
mint or whatever.
Whatever the drink he's drinking. Yeah.
Yeah, and apparently he was reading cue cards the whole time because he can remember his lines, which is kind of funny.
Is this only our second Scatman Crothers film? Because he was in Zapped. I think
this is our only. Yeah, we haven't done The Shining yet, so yeah. I love that we learn why glass water cooler bottles went out of fashion because one of them gets broken in this film. It just seems so. Watching it now, this looks so stupid to see like the idea that there were fucking actual glass water cooler bottles back in the day. That must have been impossible to fucking manage to like send to people and shit like that.
Do we think that that's real, or do we think that that's a something they did for the movie though? That would be.
I don't know. Like I would assume that they were glass at some point, right?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I didn't look into water cooler technology in the 80s. You know.
Well, so. I mean, you know, before we got into recycling and shit in the 80s and 90s, I would assume they were all glass.
I mean, my thought is just that plastic is so much lighter for any like shipping and everything. You know.
Yeah.
But you know.
Yeah. Well, this film also, with its comic book aesthetics, it sets up shit to break stuff, you know, like chasing to break.
It literally does unironically the, you know, driving on the sidewalk and hitting, you know, like fruit carts and stuff. And it's like, what the fuck is a fruit cart doing in like Los Angeles in 1974? You know?
This is the best thing. He doesn't hit a fucking fruit cart.
Okay.
What he hits is an obvious Hasidic Jew coming out of a store with a shopping cart full of bagels loose in the car. Like he's got to have 200 bagels in that shopping cart, and the shopping cart gets hit and bagels all over the fucking place. Which I'm just like, what? Who thought of that?
So what you're saying is the film isn't hackneyed. It's anti-Semitic. That's gotta work.
I don't even.
I'm joking.
Yeah, I know. But it's fucking. It's just weirdest.
It's bizarre. No, you're right. I totally like. I wasn't necessarily processing this as a sort of like an intentional satire until like I started talking to you about it. So I'm like, well, yeah, no, clearly this is, you know. This is I'm going to get you, sucker. Just made, you know, 14 years earlier or whatever. It's that same kind of thing. Not pushed quite to that, you know, overtly, you know, like Leslie Nielsen movie kind of, you know, parody. Right. But yeah, no, it's definitely kind of a send up. And at that, it's weird. It's right in smack dab in the middle of the blaxploitation era, and yet it's also, you know, kind of doing that whole thing as well. I love that this paired with Foxy Brown. This was a double bill with Foxy Brown. That is a great double bill. How much fun would that be to see that in 1974?
Yeah. Especially like at a drive-in or something like that. Watch these two films. Like, I don't even know if I'd want to make out with the girl I was with in the car. Like, I want to watch these films. Maybe watch them first and then bring the girl the second time.
Yeah. This is the kind of thing where I'd want to sit in my 70s car and drink Coors straight from the can and throw them out the passenger side window. That's the way to do it.
Yeah. The only thing I'm disappointed in by this film is that he did clearly have Coors, but at one point, the point where he's showing beer in the car, it's like, I got beer. That's a different brand, and I couldn't tell what brand it was.
Yeah, no, I did the like pause thing. Of course we did. We went, oh, what is that? And it looks like a prop beer can or whatever, you know. So
But he had Coors Banquet, so Isaac Hayes. Good taste. Good taste in your macro beers.
I mean, well, in 1974, I mean, that shit was not a nationwide brand at that point.
No,
it didn't become
regional,
a nationwide brand until to the 80s. So that's I mean, but it's all like west of Colorado. So no. I mean, I've heard stories from people like talking about how they were on military bases. They were packing it into like all the like little compartments and like tank or whatever, just to like get as much Coors as they could, east of the Mississippi. All right, you go, like whatever, man. But hey, it's Coors.
So a little bit of trivia here. The film started as a script by Lake Chapman about a Caucasian bounty hunter, like we said, and like you said, written for Lee Marvin, Robert Mitchum, and Ernest Borgnine of all people. That's a weird lead for. I could see them. I mean, generic action here. Wet guy action here. I could see him playing the comedy in this. Certainly. Yeah. I wouldn't have a problem with that. This was Nichelle Nichols' only blaxploitation film. She declined offers for other blaxploitation films, only to concentrate on the science fiction convention appearances, apparently in the 70s. Yeah. So
good money in it, like ultimately. Mm-hmm. And I mean, if you're just, you got to think like it's a tough like kind of market if you're an African American woman, known for being on TV, doing this kind of stuff, and like she's really good in this. I really like her. But I mean, you got to think like, do I really want to be known as like a black actress in these Latin movies and this kind of lower rent stuff? Or do I want to kind of go and just kind of service the Star Trek fans? And I mean, the mid 70s or late 70s is kind of when the fandom stuff really started up for real. The first, Star Trek conventions were, are a little bit later than this, but certainly not, before 1980. I think 77 or something like that was the first Star Trek convention. So, and you can make decent money. Like, if you just go and you answer questions from fans, and rather than kind of have to be a madam and kind of play on kind of the quote unquote the negative stereotypes and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's a complicated thing, so. And
she also, I'm pretty sure she probably made some pretty seriously good money being a recruiter for NASA as well. So,
right, yeah.
So, and she was doing that heavily at this time as well. So, yeah. I could not find a budget for this, but this is AIP, so I'm kind of thinking they did this for under $1 million, and I think you can kind of tell looking at it. Like, it looks good, but it looks cheap.
It looks like a film of its era. It looks fine, but it definitely did, a lot of it is kind of shot and staged in the, like, we did a couple of takes of this kind of
thing. Box office 2.23 million, and I'm assuming that might even just be it doesn't specify. I'm assuming that's probably maybe even just theater rentals or something like that. I'm pretty sure this probably made a lot more than that.
The reference to it is from this book by Arkov and Turbo, Flying Through Hollywood by the Seat of My Pants. So some 1992. I mean, I'm guessing it's a like a history of these films by like some of the producers or whatever. So.
Although, I mean, this kind of didn't do as good as you would kind of expect. I think I could see this being like a series of films, like at least 2 sequels or something.
I because I looked into it. I'm like, oh, this is really good. I really enjoy. I would love to see the the 2 sequels you get, and it doesn't exist.
And the Isaac Hayes soundtrack, which is amazing.
Oh god, the soundtrack is phenomenal.
It was released as a double album. Didn't do very well because it was on Stax Records, and Stax Records kind of went under at this point, apparently. So it disappeared basically from the public, kind of thing.
It sounds like it's kind of a film that got slightly kind of lost in the cracks.
Yeah.
This, until you mentioned it, I mean, I never heard of this film, so, and I haven't seen a ton of blaxploitation, but I've seen, some here and there, and I certainly kind of know kind of the big titles and some of the big names and stuff. And this was one like I'm trying to, I kind of love that because I just get to sit and watch it with no preconceptions, and it's great, but it's also like, this is definitely better than the fact that I had never heard of it until, like a month ago. This is better than that, so.
Nice. DVD info, there's quite a bit of MGM DVD releases of this, but I would just direct people towards the Kino Lorber DVD and Blu-ray releases of this, which are kind of the definite things. They redid it with high definitions and shit. Even the DVD version looks fucking great. The thing I love about it is they cleaned it up, but they cleaned it up so much that like the film grain jumps at you.
Yeah, sure.
It just looks good. It looks fucking period appropriate.
Awesome. No, that sounds great. No, I watched it. There's like an SD version that's available for rent on Amazon for like $3, and that's the way I watched it. I just kind of like, nice. Easy, $3 done. Now I watched it. Yeah, it looks good. It probably is not based on the print that he's talking about. I would love to see the really, really fancy print, but the one that I watched was perfectly fine. Like it looked nice, even on my kind of big TV. So, recommend it.
So speaking of kissing William Shatner, we're going to be looking.
Yeah, I realized that we were kind of connecting that together. Like,
so we're going to be, we're going to be looking at The Intruder next time. That'll finish out our sort of semi-blaxploitation look at films here for a little while. So, Daniel, where can people find you on the interwebs?
You can find me at Daniel Lee Harper on Twitter, if you're so inclined. You can find a couple of podcasts I do. The big one I'm doing right now is I Don't Speak German. That is a podcast about my researches into the furthest reaches of genocidal white supremacy with my buddy Jack Graham, who's been on this show several times now. It's a more fun show than it sounds, but go check that out if you're at all interested in that material. And we also podcast over at Wrong With Authority. That's wrongwithauthority.blogspot.com or whatever. There'll be a link in the show notes, and that's a kind of a series of various podcasts that get updated intermittently as we decide to do more of them, and that's just a fun time.
Yeah, you fuckers need to get back on the fucking track and do more Wrong With Authority, by the way. Just saying.
We're just lazy. That's really the problem.
Yeah, you fucking assholes. Yeah. You can find us at tmbdos.podbean.com, where you can find our Apple Podcast, YouTube, and Facebook links. Join the Facebook group. They Must Be Destroyed on Sight on Facebook, and tell us how awesome or terrible we are. We'll read either comment. It doesn't matter. It's good. Yeah, but leave the comments on Facebook, because we found that apparently, if you leave comments on Facebook, you sound at least more half intelligent than you do on YouTube. And we don't like YouTube comments except for to mock them. And
YouTube comments are almost routinely awful. So, yeah.
Yeah. But until next time, thank you very much, Daniel. Thank you very much for everyone listening. And we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
What hit him? Chantana! There's some pimps in their graves. Blew those pimps away. Chantana! There's a girl that's so fine with stars in her eyes. Who did you love and who loved her? Chantana!
You have been listening to They Must Be Destroyed on Sight. For other episodes, our links to Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and our Facebook group, as well as links to podcasts and websites of similar interest, please visit us at tmbdos.podbean.com. Thank you. Drive through.